Your grandfather's victory garden wasn't just about growing food. It was about growing the right food. Because, believe it or not, there are 20 crops that once filled American dinner tables, but are now completely banned from your backyard. Some will shock you. Others might already be growing in your neighbor's yard without them even knowing it. The reasons why might change how you think about gardening forever. Number 20, castor bean. With their dramatic star-shaped leaves and striking red seed pods, castor bean plants were the darlings of Victorian landscaping. They grow tall and bold, adding a tropical flair to northern gardens that made them irresistible to our great-grandparents. The seeds were even used medicinally. Castor oil was a common home remedy. But hidden inside those glossy, speckled seeds is ricin, one of the most deadly natural toxins known to science. Just a few seeds contain enough poison to kill an adult, and children are naturally drawn to their colorful, bean-like appearance. As suburban neighborhoods filled with young families after World War II, the risks became unacceptable. Garden clubs stopped recommending them, nurseries quit selling them, and existing plants were quietly removed from yards across America. Number 19, kudzu. We're starting with the plant that fooled an entire nation. During the Great Depression and Dust Bowl, kudzu was hailed as a miracle crop that could feed livestock, prevent soil erosion, and even feed families during hard times. The leaves are rich in protein and can be cooked like spinach. The flowers can be made into jelly, and the massive roots can be processed into flour. The government actually paid farmers to plant it. But kudzu had conquest in mind, not cooperation. This wonder plant grows up to a foot per day, smothering everything in its path. Trees, buildings, power lines, and entire landscapes. It now covers over 7 million acres across the South and continues spreading at a rate of 150,000 acres per year. The economic damage runs into billions of dollars annually. Kudzu represents the ultimate cautionary tale about introducing foreign species, no matter how beneficial they seem. Number 18, giant hogweed. Giant hogweed commands attention with its massive size. Towering stalks reaching 15 feet tall, topped with enormous white flower heads that can span 2 feet across. It looks like something from a fairy tale, and Victorian gardeners actually imported it as an ornamental showpiece. Some adventurous souls even tried eating the thick stems, which can be prepared similar to rhubarb in parts of Europe. But this plant harbors a sinister secret in its sap. When that sap touches skin and is exposed to sunlight, it causes severe burns, blistering, and permanent scarring. Children playing near giant hogweed have ended up hospitalized with injuries that look like third-degree burns. By the 1970s, authorities declared it a public menace, and today it's illegal to plant, sell, or transport in most states. Number 17, opium poppies. Those beautiful, delicate flowers swaying in your grandmother's garden weren't as innocent as they looked. Opium poppies produce some of the most stunning blooms you'll ever see. Soft petals in shades of pink, white, and deep purple that would make any gardener proud. The seeds were even sprinkled on bread and used in baking for generations. But here's what got them banned. Those same graceful pods contained the raw materials for morphine and heroin. By the 1950s, federal authorities decided the risk was too great. Even growing them for ornamental purposes became illegal, no matter how pure your intentions. It's one of those bitter ironies. A plant that fed families and beautified gardens for centuries became forbidden fruit because of what lurked beneath its innocent exterior. Number 16, Japanese knotweed. The young shoots of Japanese knotweed are actually quite tasty. They have a tart, lemony flavor similar to rhubarb and are considered a delicacy in Japan. These hollow bamboo-like shoots emerge in spring and can be pickled, stir-fried, or added to soups. They're rich in vitamins and have been part of traditional Asian cuisine for centuries. But in America, Japanese knotweed earned the nickname the most invasive plant in the world. Once established, its roots burrow 10 feet deep and spread 60 feet horizontally, cracking foundations, destroying driveways, and overwhelming native plants. A single fragment can start a new colony, making it nearly impossible to eliminate. Property owners have faced lawsuits for letting it spread to neighboring land, and some states impose hefty fines just for having it on your property. Number 15. Water hyacinth. Water hyacinth produces beautiful purple flowers and has thick, spongy leaf stalks that are actually edible in some Asian cuisines. The young leaves and flower buds can be added to soups and stir-fries, and the plant has a mild, slightly sweet flavor. It was originally introduced as an ornamental for water gardens because of its attractive appearance and rapid growth. But water hyacinth's beauty masks a sinister nature. It's one of the world's fastest-growing plants, doubling its population every 2 weeks under ideal conditions. It forms dense mats that clog waterways, block boat traffic, and kill fish by depleting oxygen levels. The plant has caused millions in damage to water systems, fisheries, and recreation areas. Today, even possessing water hyacinth can result in significant fines. Number 14. Coca plants. This unassuming shrub with small, glossy leaves looks like it belongs in any suburban landscape. In its native South America, indigenous people have chewed coca leaves for energy and to fight altitude sickness for thousands of years. It's as much a part of their culture as morning coffee is to ours. But in America, this modest plant carries the weight of being the source of cocaine. The leaves themselves aren't the problem. It's the processing that creates the danger. Federal law treats even a single coca plant in your greenhouse as evidence of drug manufacturing intent. It's a plant that represents the clash between traditional use and modern drug policy, where cultural heritage meets zero-tolerance enforcement. Number 13. Purple leucostrife. With its tall spikes of brilliant purple flowers, purple leucostrife brought stunning color to wetland gardens and was beloved by Victorian flower enthusiasts. The young leaves are actually edible when cooked and were used as a pot herb in traditional European cuisine, similar to spinach or chard. Beekeepers loved it because it provided abundant nectar for honey production. But purple leucostrife had wetland domination in its DNA. A single plant can produce over 2 million seeds per year, and it forms dense stands that crowd out cattails, sedges, and other native wetland plants. This destroys habitat for waterfowl, fish, and countless other species. What seemed like a beautiful addition to pond gardens became an ecological disaster, costing millions in control efforts. Number 12. Peyote cactus. This small round cactus doesn't look dangerous at all. Unlike its spiny desert cousins, peyote grows low to the ground with a soft, button-like appearance that seems almost friendly. But inside those innocent-looking buttons lies mescaline, a powerful hallucinogen that has been used in Native American religious ceremonies for over 1,000 years. Federal law carved out a narrow religious exemption for enrolled tribal members. But for everyone else, growing peyote is strictly forbidden. The plant grows incredibly slowly, sometimes taking a decade to mature, making it more about patience and ritual than casual gardening. Yet its connection to altered consciousness was enough to land it on the banned list. Number 11. Giant salvinia. This floating aquatic fern might look delicate with its small velvety leaves, but it's one of the world's most destructive water weeds. In some cultures, The young fronds are harvested and eaten as an aquatic vegetable, prepared similar to other leafy greens. It seems innocent enough, just a pretty plant floating on pond surfaces, but giant salvinia doubles its biomass every few days under ideal conditions, quickly forming thick mats that completely cover water surfaces. These mats block sunlight, deplete oxygen, and kill everything underneath, turning vibrant lakes and rivers into biological deserts. It has no natural predators in North America, making it virtually unstoppable once established. Even possessing giant salvinia can result in hefty fines in most states. Number 10, tree of heaven. Don't let the heavenly name fool you. This fast-growing tree was once welcomed in American cities for its ability to thrive in poor soil and provide quick shade. In some traditional medicines, parts of the tree were used for various ailments. But tree of heaven lives up to its aggressive reputation. It spreads through root suckers and wind-dispersed seeds, forming dense colonies that crowd out native trees. The roots release chemicals that inhibit other plants, and they're strong enough to crack sidewalks and damage building foundations. Worse yet, tree of heaven serves as the preferred host for the spotted lanternfly, an invasive pest that's devastating fruit crops and forests across the eastern United States. Many states now require immediate removal and reporting of any tree of heaven sightings. Number 9, autumn olive. The small speckled red berries of autumn olive are not only edible, but surprisingly nutritious, containing more lycopene than tomatoes and high levels of vitamins and antioxidants. They have a tart, astringent flavor that makes excellent jams, jellies, and sauces. Government agencies actually promoted autumn olive in the 1950s and 60s as wildlife food and for erosion control. Hunters loved it because it attracted game birds. But this beneficial plant had other plans. Autumn olive spreads like wildfire, with birds carrying its seeds far and wide. It forms dense thickets that crowd out native plants and alter soil chemistry. What was once planted for conservation became an invasive nightmare, requiring expensive control efforts. It's now banned in many states, a reminder that even good intentions can go terribly wrong. Number 8, water spinach, kangkong. This leafy green with hollow stems and arrow-shaped leaves is a staple in Southeast Asian kitchens. Water spinach grows incredibly fast and can be harvested continuously. Just cut the stems and they regrow within days. It's packed with nutrients and has a mild, pleasant flavor that works perfectly in stir-fries, soups, and curries. Sounds like the perfect garden crop, right? Wrong. Water spinach is banned in most states because it spreads like wildfire through waterways, clogging irrigation systems and crowding out native aquatic plants. Even a small stem fragment can start a new colony. It's so aggressive that some states classify even possessing the seeds as a criminal offense. Sometimes, the most productive plants are the most dangerous. Number 7, cat. Picture a neat, fast-growing shrub that could easily pass for a decorative hedge in any American suburb. Cat's pointed green leaves contain cathinone, a natural stimulant that works much like amphetamines. In East Africa and Arabia, chewing these leaves is a social tradition, providing energy and alertness during long workdays. But American lawmakers saw a different story: addiction potential, heart problems, and mental health risks. The Controlled Substances Act placed khat in the same category as dangerous drugs, making cultivation a federal crime. It's another example of how a plant that's perfectly legal and culturally significant in one part of the world becomes contraband when it crosses our borders. Number 6, multiflora rose. Those clusters of tiny red rose hips might look harmless, but they're packed with vitamin C, more than most citrus fruits. During World War II, when oranges were scarce, rose hips were actually promoted as a vitamin supplement. Multiflora rose was planted extensively as living fences for livestock and wildlife cover. The thorny canes seemed perfect for keeping cattle contained while providing food for birds. But multiflora rose had conquest on its mind. It forms impenetrable thickets with canes growing 15 feet long, creating barriers that are impossible for humans or large animals to penetrate. It crowds out native plants and provides poor habitat compared to indigenous alternatives. Today, it's banned in most states, and property owners spend thousands trying to eliminate what their grandparents planted with pride. Number 5. Hydrilla. This underwater plant with delicate whorled leaves was once sold in aquarium stores and used in water gardens for its attractive appearance. In some traditional cuisines, the tender growing tips are harvested and prepared like other aquatic vegetables with a mild flavor similar to watercress. It seemed like the perfect aquatic plant, attractive, fast-growing, and providing oxygen to water. But hydrilla earned the nickname, the perfect aquatic weed, for good reason. It grows so densely that it blocks boat propellers, clogs water intake pipes, and creates stagnant conditions that kill fish. A single plant fragment can establish a new colony, and it spreads rapidly through waterways. Hydrilla has cost billions in control efforts and economic losses, making it illegal to possess, transport, or sell in most states. Number 4. Beetle nut palm. This elegant tropical palm, with its slender trunk and graceful fronds, looks like it belongs in a Florida resort. The beetle nut palm produces small orange fruits that contain seeds traditionally chewed across South and Southeast Asia. Mixed with lime and wrapped in leaves, beetle nut provides a mild stimulant effect similar to tobacco. But decades of research revealed a darker truth. Regular beetle nut use is linked to mouth cancer, gum disease, and other serious health problems. By the mid-20th century, the United States had placed heavy restrictions on importing or growing these palms. What once seemed like an exotic ornamental became a public health concern that couldn't be ignored. Number 3. Garlic mustard. This innocent-looking plant with heart-shaped leaves and small white flowers was actually brought to America on purpose by European settlers, who valued it as both food and medicine. The leaves have a mild garlic flavor and were commonly added to salads and cooked dishes. It was considered a valuable spring green, providing fresh nutrition after long winters of preserved foods. But garlic mustard had a hidden agenda. It releases chemicals into the soil that prevent other plants from growing, a process called allelopathy. Worse yet, it spreads aggressively, forming dense carpets that smother native wildflowers and disrupt entire forest ecosystems. What seemed like a useful herb became an ecological terrorist, earning it a place on noxious weed lists across the country. Number 2. Brazilian Elodea. Brazilian Elodea produces tender-growing tips and young leaves that are sometimes used as aquatic vegetables in South American cuisines. The plant parts can be harvested continuously and prepared like other water plants. With a mild, slightly sweet flavor, it was introduced to American waterways through the aquarium trade, where it was valued for its attractive appearance and rapid growth. But Brazilian Elodea proved to be one of the most aggressive aquatic invaders in North America. It grows several inches per day and can completely fill water bodies, making them unusable for recreation, irrigation, or wildlife habitat. The plant crowds out native vegetation and creates poor conditions for fish and waterfowl. Even tiny fragments can establish new infestations, making it nearly impossible to eliminate once introduced. Number 1. Water chestnut. Water chestnut produces starchy, edible nuts that were once harvested by Native Americans as an important food source along the eastern seaboard. The nuts have a sweet, nutty flavor and can be eaten raw, boiled, or roasted. They're high in carbohydrates and were a valuable survival food that could be stored for winter use. European settlers quickly learned to appreciate this native delicacy, but water chestnut had aquatic domination in its plants. It forms dense mats that make water bodies completely unusable for swimming, boating, or fishing. The sharp, spiny nuts can injure swimmers and damage boat propellers. Worse yet, it crowds out native aquatic vegetation and creates poor habitat for waterfowl and fish. What was once a valuable food source became such a nuisance that many states now have active removal programs and prohibit any cultivation or transport. These 20 banned crops tell the story of how America learned the hard way that not all plants make good neighbors. From innocent-looking flowers hiding deadly secrets to miracle crops that became ecological nightmares, each one changed how we think about what belongs in our gardens. Hit that subscribe button to discover more forgotten secrets from America's agricultural past. And check out the next video on your screen about the heirloom vegetables your great-grandparents grew that you need to plant today.